Independence Day. Today, we have between us a very known Army personality, Army officer, scholar, writer, lecturer, Major General A.K. Chaturvedi, AVSM, VSM, sir. Very warm welcome, sir, on our YouTube channel. Before
Yes.
beginning, sir, before beginning, I would like to tell all the aspirants about Major General A.K. Chaturvedi, AVSM, VSM, sir. Sir joined Indian Army in 1974. Sir has been alumni of College of Military Engineering, Pune, IIT Chennai, Osmania University and Madras University. Sir is a trained interviewing officer, having done his course from Defense Institute of Psychological Research, Delhi. An outstanding sportsman, Sir has also represented country in the World Championship. After Sir's illustrious service to the nation, Sir retired in 2012. During his service, Sir has been decorated twice by the President, once by the Chief of Army Staff and once by the Central Army Commander. Post-retirement, Sir is active in writing and lecturing. He has a number of books to his credit. Very warm welcome, sir. So it has been 38 years of service. So you became the part of Indian Armed Forces in 1974. What changes do you see in today's time if we compare the armed forces in 1974 during your time, sir?
In that, frankly speaking, it is a continuum. Nothing much changes. However, in case since the country itself is changing, so there are certain changes that people have become in armed forces much more professional what they were in 1974. The new young lot of officers who are coming, they are far more aware than what we were in our times. Actually, IT revolution has totally changed the scenario, and substantially people are in real time they are having information, and in fact it is information overload. In our case, more emphasis was on physical fitness, but these days I think a bit of change has taken place that people are more into, say, reading through internet. But it has got pluses, it has got its minuses. Pluses are, in this case, is that more information is available to them, so they are more aware. Minus is that you get information what you get on internet. And many a times it is not the information which you are looking for. In fact, it is many times that information which is fed into the system. So therefore, you got to develop that capability to discern from good from not so good. So that is what it is. And I'm a very optimistic person, and I feel always that young people are far more aware, and they have got a capacity and capability to know what is right for the country. So therefore, that's the way it is. So not much of change. In our case, we used to play for 6 to 8 hours as a young officers, and that gave us a lot of bonhomie among ourselves and a good camaraderie with our say command, with our troops. I think these days this is one link which is slightly weakened. It is not because in our time even the pay and pay dispersal used to be such that the guy will come to you and you ask about his family, that what is his problem, what is. Nowadays it is all through bank. The pay gets directly credited to the bank. So that personal touch between say, leader and the led has slightly weakened, and we have to find ways and means to kind of enhance it.
So, as you have been trained as interviewing officer from DIPR, and I would like you to share some tips for our defense aspirants who are appearing for SSB interviews. Also, our students are there who are connected for the MNS interviews and various interviews. What is being looked at SSBs when it comes to the selection of officers, because in SSBs the selection rate is pretty low. So what are those certain qualities, and what is interviewing officer looking when there is the selection of the candidate at SSBs or any interviews?
Actually, Gurpreet, I'll tell this in a little different manner. getting tips to get selected is not the best way to get into army, because army life is a lifestyle. So unless you have the transformational changes in you, um, by mugging some answers, is not the best way. Firstly, because this is a tough profession. It's a tough profession where when you get into it, uh, uh, I'll share a very interesting anecdote. Somebody once asked that why should a young chap should join army? Very interesting question. And he says that when I'm in IT sector, I get so much of money. I'm easy life, all that. I said only one thing, that in case if you transform yourself to be a leader, then a person is prepared to shed his life on your instructions. And that person whom you have not given the best of clothes, whom you have not given best of the food, you have given him all kind of deprivation when he wants leave, you are not giving him leave, and yet he is prepared to shed his life on your instructions. So his officer has to develop his personality in such a way so that that rapport he develops with his command in such a way so that they start listening to implicit obedience starts coming. So that is first part. So a leadership has to be of that quality. Now, how do you get this leadership? You get this leadership. Firstly, one must remember that SSB is a test by three different techniques of the same qualities. Three different techniques used to ascertain the same quality. If it is integrity is to be checked, it is by GTO, it is by psychologists, and it is by the IO, all three. Now, unless you have transformed yourself to be a leader, what will happen in a rapid fire questions or somewhere along the line, that put on personality will veer off. And all three are like, whether it is GTO or it is IO or it is psychologist, all three are trained people. And they know how to tear that veneer of put on personality very quickly. And the best part is, when you are under stress, you start showing your true self. So therefore, my advice and the first tip I would like to give to the all candidates, that try to imbibe the qualities of a leader. Transform your personality in such a way so that it becomes part of your personality. And this is exactly what happens. You take, in this case, I'll give you some example of some young officers. Yesterday, we were talking of Vijayan Thapar, Vikram Batra, or Manoj Pandey. Now, Vijayan Thapar wrote to his father that by the time this letter reaches you, probably I would be sitting with the fairies in the heaven and talking to them. So he was so cool. He had detached himself, and for his aim was so clear that he went for his death. Shersa, as he was called, Vikram Batra, he said, "Ye dil mange more," even when it was difficult. Manoj Pandey said that I'll come back, whether alive or wrapped in tricolor. So therefore, you look at changes in his attitude. He is going for a purpose, and where he is fully aware that it may end his life, and yet he goes for it. That is the transformation training brings when he is in IMA. Whether you have that basic material or not is something which you need to do. So my advice would be, as I think in the further in the interview we'll come to know, and we'll talk about those qualities. It is essential that youngsters who wish to join army, they must read about these young officers who attained martyrdom in service to the nation. So, what would be the qualities they had? And I would, in case if I had to give those qualities, the first and foremost is self-confidence. You got to have 100% self-confidence. Yes, I can do it. Yes, we can do it. And not only I, the capacity to work in a team. So therefore, first is self-confidence. Second is cooperation and coordination in a group. So that group task, when you do in GTO. So therefore, you should be able to work in a team. Now, I'll just give an example. India is a country of Sachin Tendulkars, now Virat Kohlis, and all like this. But does anyone know in Argentinian team the name of even one hockey player? Because Argentina was last Olympic champion, and yet nobody knows the names. Because team have worked as a team. So therefore, in armed forces, first and foremost is that you learn to work in a team. And like human body, the day I say I'll look that side, and hand will say I'll push that side, and feet will say I'll go back, you'll fall. So therefore, coordination. So third quality, first is self-confidence. Second is working in a team. Third is coordination between various limbs. And not personal glory, you work for the glory of the cause. That is what the capability you should develop. Fourth and the fourth, very important quality is integrity. And integrity does not mean only financial integrity, that you don't do the cheating, you don't make money. What you do, foremost thing is moral wholeness. You should be able to, that courage of conviction, you should be able to stand up for what you think is right. And even if difficult situation comes, then you work for it. So another is integrity. Third is very, very innovative. You should be, because resources to the task, you will always be short of resources, so you will have to innovate. And that will come, innovation, that how does that innovation will come? With a positive attitude. Next quality, very important quality, positive attitude. Even when chips are down, that famous Charge of Light Brigade, Tennyson's poem, it says, my left is collapsing, my right is collapsing, but I'm advancing. So therefore, you should be able, so even in the worst of situation, as they say, you must look for opportunities in calamities. If you have capability, and that is where they will give you situations where it looks nothing can be done, but yet you have to find the solutions, because resources will never be adequate. And this also brings the practical intelligence. Intelligence and practical intelligence are two different things. Chap reads a passage and he remembers that. That is a basic IQ. In our case, in armed forces, a very high EQ is required. Very high, when you say emotional quotient should be very high, because then only you will be able to find that practical intelligence will be very, because how will others, and even in this case, when you do that, how will my enemy work? Take the example of that, there's a famous dialogue in that movie, Lakshya, that Om Puri says, बाकी तो आप लोग ज्ञानी हो, कैप्टन साहब से कहता है, लेकिन याद रखना ये पाकिस्तानी दोबारा लौट के आता है. Now the experience he gets it. So that is what I am saying is that he should be able to, when you have that innovative skills, when you have positive attitude, then you learn to see things in larger perspective. So another thing is that with positive aptitude, you would have very good attitude. That attitude is, anything is possible, I can do it. So that's another quality which you got to move. Now, second is that how do you get influenced by the environment? When gloomy pictures are coming, and in that suddenly you say, so that is there. What is your value system? Value system comes from family, comes from school, comes from your friend circle. So therefore, that is what it is. Obviously, if you are physically fit, then only you can do all these things. If you are not physically fit, you can let your mind wander, but you will not reach your destination. You got to have that capability that I should be able to do it, and for that, physically you should be fit. So physical fitness is another important aspect of the personality of a. But in these, if you notice, there are certain qualities which are trainable. Physical fitness is a very much trainable quality. Your value system is which you have inherited. Attitude is something which is inherent, right? Practical
Yes, sir.
intelligence, by keep doing things time and again, time and again, time and again, you develop that. If you want to develop a team spirit, you got to play troops games. Not that
So,
you sit on a computer and you play computer games. Another thing which is very essential for a service officer is, as I said, that O Puri's dialogue that wo laut ke aata hai. So that will come only if you have read. So therefore, you should be well read. You should have a capacity, capability, and an aptitude to learn new things. And that
so,
will come only if you have that capability to explore. So keep reading. If you read history, there's a famous instance that there was a American general by name George C. Patton.
so,
Patton was pitted against, he was commanding Third Army, and he was pitted against a very mercurial and a very illustrious general of German army called von Rommel.
so,
So this man used to keep photographs of Rommel on his bedside, Patton, and used to read his books to know his mind. So that is where that EQ, which I'm relating to that EQ, that once
so,
you, and there's a very famous battle called Battle of Katharine Pass, where finally Rommel was defeated. So
so,
he says Patton, he was very, I mean, vocal with his language was quite flowery, and he used to use four-letter words quite often. So he said, Rommel, you magnificent, dip, 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 dip. I had read your book. So that is why he knew how Rommel is going to react. So he provoked reactions to control them. So
so,
this is reading helps. So
so,
then you know the terrain also. So all these capabilities, in case if you keep developing, and that is why if you notice in that picture perception test, they give you a very vague picture so that you can. I will not tell you that what that boy should write. He should be
so,
able to defend, and he should think like a service officer. He must not, and no negativity. First and foremost is no negativity. And negativity does not mean that a word like never comes, so you will say, never said. I mean, I'll never say, how do you get a positive comment out of it? That is what
so,
is important. So therefore, that is another thing which you have to develop a positive attitude and no negativity in life. So these are some of the qualities which I would say, and over a period of time, in fact, I would recommend to you also that when you are
so,
training the youngsters, do not tell them those questions. You go to them and then another quality which I would say, what happens in normal conversation, and if you notice, most of us do this thing, that the moment a questioning starts, first part I listen to the question and I start formulating question answer to it, and the person who is questioning, he has lost me because I'm not listening to what he is saying. I'm thinking of answer.
so,
Capacity and capability of a candidate should develop, because let me assure you, those questions which IO asks, they are deliberately long to
so,
see that whether he can hold your attention to it or not for a long time. So,
so,
and for this, the candidate should go to his mother. Mothers in good old days when they were not even educated, even today, if you notice, a lady since morning she does so many works and she doesn't fail. She gets the milk for the family, then she makes her maid of the house work in the house. Simultaneously, she cooks food for the children. She also fills the water in the child's water bottle,
so,
drops her at the bus stop, tells the bus driver that these are the instructions, and comes back. And everything she does, and she does multitasking without losing the even one point. And good old days, the ladies used to, in their sari ka pallu, they used to tie knots. and they used to remember the. So a candidate need to develop that capability that he should listen to the question full, and how does he formulate his answer is very important. That gives that how well organized a person is.
So,
So therefore, it is important and essential that he must develop this capability to organize his thoughts well and prepare his answers accordingly.
so.
It will never happen that you hear, and this is taken as negative the moment a person says, "Sir, what is the next question you had asked?" He said that means you are not attentive. You got to learn that aptitude of being attentive. Then there will be there's a famous quote that army personnel, they do difficult things daily. They do impossible things. They take about say 3 days, and miracles they perform in a week's time.
So
Now, this person should develop that capability that never say die. I'll not give up. Now, this will help him even in command task. This will help him in situation which will come. This will tell him, help him in side test also, and this will help him in while talking to IO. So therefore, never say die. There is always a solution, and you have to identify that solution. And that is where the practical intelligence, the point which I had mentioned earlier, that also comes. Then another capability which a service officer has, he is well read, he is aware of the, say, situation awareness. So therefore, say if today someone goes and he says, and if he says, what do you think about coronavirus or COVID-19? We should not give a blank look that I do not know, sir. सर मैं तो बहुत पढ़ाई वढ़ाई कर रहा था, मुझे आर्मी कमांडर्स के नाम मालूम है. No, sorry, son, not like this. You got to know everything. So you may not be an expert on the whole thing, but a service officer, multitasker, and generally aware of things, and a lot of things he should know. That's another thing he got to do. Now, in case if I have to say summarize the whole thing, a leader is like what in Indian culture it is said, Ganapati. Now you look at the figure of a Ganapati, it's a Humpty Dumpty. Any science student will say that Lord Ganesha's figure is such that it will be unstable because center of gravity is so high, head being so heavy that he'll collapse. And if he's astride a rat, there's no question of moving even an inch. But look at the qualities which he, say, identifies with. The most intelligent animal is elephant. So therefore, service officer has to have his intelligence, high intelligence. He keeps his eyes slick. Any science student would say that when you have to focus, you focus. When you have to focus on infinity, you reduce the size of the slit. You keep reducing the size of the slit. When you say physical optics, when you read, this is what it is. So Singhavalokan, what we call it, that you have to. So you got to have very, very fine eyesight to see everything what is important, and be able to see important from not so important. Say chef from material. Okay. Now third is he has got a trunk. Now what does trunk do? With trunk, elephant, he senses. So you should be able to sense threats coming from far. So you should be able to sense threats coming from far. So before they happen, so indicators of the environment, situation awareness, what I have said. Now, next point which is very strong is big ears elephant has got. That means whatever dissonance is happening in the environment, they say suddenly some fire comes from where this fire has come. He is going into a situation is given that you are going in a jungle and suddenly you hear some sound or something. So you should be able to, mind should start working. So you should be able to see. Now, a big stomach means you should be able to keep secrets. He may ask you questions that are you trusted by your friends? A small, very benign question. Yes, sir. How do they trust you? Will they trust you with money? Will they trust you with their personal secrets or something? So that leader got to be someone big stomach means he can keep secrets. Okay. He has got a book in his hand. So that means he's contemporary to knowledge. Whatever is happening, he is contemporary. So he's well read. So he knows about CAO, he knows about Karuna also, besides knowing the name of the army commanders or co-commanders or Galwan Valley or something. Right? Now, when you sit astride a rat does cutting. So therefore, a leader should be able to secure his environment. Because a leader has to, there are a lot of conspiracies will be going on, which is a reflective of a rat. He controls them. Now, two qualities by his anecdotal comes. One is that when his father came and his mother said that, okay, when I'm having a bath, do not allow anyone to come in. So even when Shiva comes, he stops him because his mother has said so. So that shows loyalty of a leader. Loyalty to his subordinates, loyalty to his seniors, loyalty to his country. He is loyal. That he says, okay, meri gardan kaatna hai, kaat do, but I'll not let you go get in there. Now the last point is innovativeness. When they say that whoever goes around the world will be considered greater, he and his brother. Now his brother had a peacock as his carrier, and this chap had a rat, so he couldn't. So what he does, he goes around his parents. That is what the legend. I am not trying to tell you trying to make it some Hindutva versus some nonsense, but what I am saying is basically this is Ganapati is a leader, and leader has to have this quality. So he is innovative. So therefore, these are the tips which you would like to give to the students. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir. With such great stories and with such great experiences, you've cleared this whole interview tips to the students. The next question that I would like to ask you is, sir, that lakhs of aspirants dream to join the Defence Forces of India. So being into defense career guidance, when we see them, these chaps, somewhere we find those core values, that self-discipline we find missing in these candidates, which is very essential if you want to join the Indian Armed Forces. So can you please suggest these candidates what all upgradations they have to make into their personality, into their day-to-day routine in order to be capable to join the prestigious Indian Armed Forces?
Would be again discipline. There are two words. I would say the four words. Four words I will tell you, and they're competing, interchangeably used. One is flexibility versus rigidity. Flexibility versus rigidity. Second is discipline versus loyalty. Now, first is discipline versus loyalty. Now, discipline is being able to set into a routine. You should be able to listen to the orders and perform. Right? So therefore, loyalty is from senior to junior. Because if you are loyal to your subordinates, first and foremost thing which you will be able to do it is that you will be able to help him to save his life and limb. And that is where the rapport will come. If I'm going somewhere and if I help my men not to get killed, he'll be always indebted to me all through his life. Right? So therefore, loyalty has to be from senior to junior. And discipline is junior to senior. What does that mean? If in this case, I'll give a old anecdote. There was when in erstwhile Russia, and before it became Soviet Union, and the moment the revolution took place, and Tsar was killed, and the communist government came, so the police chap stopped the vehicle. They have the right-hand drive, so that carriage was those time horse carriage. So he was going on the left side of the carriage. So he said, "Hey man, you are going on the wrong side of the road." So he said, "Russia is free. I am free. I'll do what I want to do." You're right. Yeah. Absolutely right, that police chap said. But remember, the man coming from opposite side is also a Russian. He's also free. He'll do what he wants to do. So you may lose your life because there may be a collision. So therefore, follow the rules, regulation, right? Now, discipline, personal discipline, helps you to build a capacity and capability to listen to instructions.
So
they say the example again another good example I'll give. In 1973, there was a war called Yom Kippur War, and that was between Israel and Arabs. So what happened in that war? After the war, for the first time, Israelis, they did not lose it, but they got a knocking. Neither in 48 nor in 67. They never got, nor in 56. They always had his way with the Arabs. But this is first time when say Egyptians came onto their land. So they ordered something called Wiesmann Commission. There was their president, Wiesmann, who headed a commission. So one of the recommendation was of that Wiesmann Commission was to improve the things was that you introduce drill and you introduce mass PT. People questioned him. He says, when you do drill, and the moment he says, attention, and then everyone comes to a savdhan, that you learn to listen to orders. And similarly, when you do mass PT, you follow the lead. So you develop that capability. Armed forces, for a coordination, like I gave the example of human body. Say, if I am talking to you, my eye says, no, I'll not look at Gurpreet, I'll look left. So I'm looking left. My ears will say, no, I'll not listen to Gurpreet, I'll listen to what music is going on. What will happen to our conversation? It will end. But conversation would be meaningful when I look into your eyes, when I respond to your questions, my ears listen to what you are saying. So therefore, body is doing a coordinated response to a problem posed to it, right? So that is where the importance of discipline comes. So therefore, it is very important for someone who wishes to, because I've seen some of those youngsters coming for in IMA and all, he is used to open his button and college, he is going, class he is not attending, teacher he is not listening. Now, what happens? Such people, since they don't listen to orders, he will lose his life. Army is a serious profession. It's not a joke or something, because in this profession there are only winners. There are no runners up. Runners up are dead. So therefore, if you want to save your life, you got to listen to instructions. And to listen to instructions, you should develop the capability to be disciplined, to be in a routine. And in any case, it's help. You have got just 24 hours. If you say, no, I'll see at least 5 movies today, then where is the time when you will do the physical fitness? If you will not do physical fitness, then how will you do the rest of the work? When will you? So therefore, time is limited. To make optimum utilization of time, you got to have your prioritization. Prioritization is done if you are disciplined. So therefore, this is very important. Now, in this case, I'll come to my second set of two words, which I said, rigidity versus flexibility. Now, many a times people say, no, army, when I say do it like this, just do it like this. No, sorry. You got to be flexible. Rigidity leads you to a premeditated responses. And premeditated responses lead you to many a times death. Because if you notice, many a times what happens, you must be reading in paper that they had been using the same bridge every day at the same time. So he activated the idea at that point in time. The bridge got blown, with that the person gets blown. Case of Galwan. Indians in past, they had been withdrawing. So therefore, this time also Chinese thought that if I scare them, they'll just run away. But when you are flexible in your mind, you were not rigid. You were flexible in your mind and you said, okay, this time I'll give you back in the same coin in which you have paid me. The response is different. So therefore, these four words, that is loyalty versus discipline, flexibility versus rigidity, you must understand it well, right? And secondly, the examples I gave you, the discipline helps you to optimize your time, your resources, and should be able to help you to listen to instructions. Because your senior, when he tells you, he has got, say, information is far more than your information. Many times, if you must have seen today also, people say, yeah, this shot, Virat Kohli should have hit like this only. Virat Kohli knows how to hit. But you are, with a limited information, you think that you can advise Virat Kohli. Similarly, Modi should do like this. Or Rahul Gandhi should change his response like this. When we say, we do not know what information they have. They are senior. So senior will always have more information. So if he tells her, you can argue it out. But here I would like to introduce another set of words. Responsibility versus accountability, which we must know. If a senior tells me do it like this, he's accountable. Within his accountability, I have got some responsibility. So I should discharge in such a way so that it is done. Again, two more words. Role clarity versus goal clarity. Goal is fixed. So in that, I have got a different role. If I'm fullback, I must do a fullback's job. They say, third battle of Panipat, Marathas lost despite having bigger force, because the chap who was the leader, Sadashiv Rao, just because when he came to know that his nephew, son of Peshwa, Vishwas Rao, had died, so he charged. Now, a general is not supposed to charge. He's supposed to plan, execute, and see where the resources are less, so flexibly he can keep. So therefore, these are the things which discipline tells you to. That this is my job. So within the goal of victory, this is my role. So discipline helps you to identify your role and do it yourself. Okay.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing such wonderful anecdotes and words of advices to our aspirants. On this auspicious occasion of Independence Day, sir, I would like you to give message to all the defense aspirants who are preparing and are willing to join the Indian Armed Forces, sir.
I'll tell you this again. I would like to tell a poem which I read. Two things I'll tell you. One is Atal Bihari Vajpayee has written a poem. And I explained it. It says, हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा, काल के कपाल पे लिखता मिटाता हूँ, गीत नहीं गाता हूँ, गीत नहीं गाता हूँ. Now what does that mean? He says, हार नहीं मानूंगा. Never say die attitude. This is the first principle aspirant should learn. Even if you say, uh, often this question is asked, if you get rejected, what will you do? So he says, I will try till I succeed. So हार नहीं मानूंगा, रार नहीं ठानूंगा. That means rar is a struggle. That struggle every day, a new struggle. So therefore, my mind is flexible and I should be able to, whenever the new situation comes, I should be able to fight it out. रार नहीं ठानूंगा. काल के कपाल पे लिखता मिटाता हूँ. काल is time. On the sands of time, I am writing, but I am deleting and writing again. काल के कपाल पे लिखता मिटाता. That means I am not rigid in my mind and flexible in my mind. So one of the most important aspects, this third quality, is that a service officer has to be flexible in mind. In command task or something, you will reach a situation when you will not know how to proceed. Then again go back and try. लिखता मिटाता हूँ, गीत नए गाता हूँ, गीत नए गाता हूँ. गीत is, that means I am happy, I am positive in my attitude. So this is one message I would like to give. Second message is the 43rd president of United States, John F. Kennedy, he gave a message, very interesting message. He said, most people see things the way they are and ask why. I see the things the way they should be and ask why not. Now, just again dissect this statement. You accept the way it is and you say, yeah, why it is like this? It should have been like this. That's a very negative. It is filling you with negativity. It is filling that it has not been done. So this Corona हो गया अभी, ऑनलाइन लर्निंग पे लगा दिया. मेरे पास साला पैसा नहीं है. How can I buy Spectrum and all those things? This is negativity. Now, second part, he says, I see things the way they should be and ask why not. That means I know that this is the way it should be. My future goal is this. So I must now find out how can I achieve that goal. So that's a positive attitude. So next quality they must develop is a positive attitude. Even if things are bad, they must look for. So these are the things which will make them a successful service officer. And honesty and integrity, there is no in armed forces, honesty and integrity are far more important than anything else. You got to be financially, physically, mentally, and attitudinally honest. And integrity is moral wholeness. You should have courage of conviction to say what you are saying, but disciplined manner. You give your viewpoint, but if someone says, no, this is the way it will be done, okay, you are the boss and I'm ready. So that's another thing which is important.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing these wonderful words of advices for our defense aspirants. And I, on behalf of Centurion Defense Academy, thank you for joining us for this wonderful session, yes, sir.
I'll end my whatever I'm saying. So, long back, I read a Urdu couplet, and a Sanskrit shlok. Both I will share, and which your students can imbibe. That Sanskrit shlok I'll read and I'll explain. It said, Nindantu niti nipunam yadva stuvantu Lakshmi samavishatu gacchatu va yatheshtam Marno astu addev vayugantareva nyayat patha pravachal padam nadhira. So it describes someone who's brave and courageous. Now, what does it say? It says people who are knowledgeable, whether they praise you or they don't praise you, whether money comes to you or it doesn't come to you, death comes today or maybe after years. A brave and courageous person, his feet never tremble. He faces the task with the due steadfastness. So this is one message. Second is, which a poet from Lucknow, Urdu couplet, he said, सबसे पहले मर्द बन हिंदुस्तान के वास्ते. First, I should be, my loyalty is to my country and I'll do everything to see to it that my country excels in everything they do. सबसे पहले मर्द बन हिंदुस्तान के वास्ते. And mard is not, I mean, before you say this is misogynistic attitude, no. It is basically when you say ना यार दमदार होना चाहिए, तो सबसे पहले मर्द बन हिंदुस्तान के वास्ते, हिंद जाग उठे तो सारे जहां के वास्ते. I should be able to do good to the world only after my country first. So nation first is the message in this. Nation first, always and every time. And this is also IMS in fact the credo of Chetwood, it is called, which is very interesting and which all the students should know. It says nation come first, always and every time. The ease and comfort of your men come next. And the welfare of your men come next. So that means your command. So you will be able to develop that rapport in case if you look after your men and resources. Your own ease and comfort come last, always and every time. So that means you should not care for that. What is there in it for me? You should be able to do that. These are the three things which I thought that I must share.
Thank you so much, sir, for sharing these words. And we are very pleased, we are blessed and honored to have you on this platform, sir. Thank you for sparing time for us, for our defense aspirants. They'll be highly motivated to listen to your words, and I am sure that they will imbibe by what you have said. Your tips have been wonderful with reference to the interview, the anecdotes you have shared, the shlokas and the mantras you have shared in this whole interaction. Thank you, sir. Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.